Okay, I'm back. These will be the last 3 episodes I'm going to do Normal People because it's the end. Uh, I'll talk about the end when I get to episode 12 because I don't want to kind of like spoil anything. Not that I'm spoiling anything. Everyone has already watched at this stage, but so episode 10 we see the little clip at the start. So we see a clip of Connell. He's filling out a questionnaire about his feelings, and he circles that he dislikes himself, and it's clear he's in a bad place. And Niall, his friend, suggests that he goes to see like a therapist or something. So, and he goes, like, he has no issues. So I'm happy that the show shows that it's okay to get help, whether you're a man, a woman, whatever. But it's sad to see that he dislikes himself. I'm surprised him and Helen are still going strong when he knows that she cares, that he still cares for Marianne. And he gets a text by one of his friends being missing, and it's weird how like he just says it's a New Year's thing, and he doesn't tell her like what it actually said. I feel like it's not that big of a deal, but again, I guess it's kind of an insight into their relationship, and it's clear like he doesn't really feel comfortable telling her everything. And then, because it's New Year's where we start this episode. And then shit, we cut to the scene where his mom rings him and tells him that his friend's body was found in the water and it was a suicide. Now, when we think back to a few episodes, probably around the start when he first went to college, it's the friend that he connected with in Sligo when he went home. That time he went to the pub, and his friend stayed in Sligo and was working in Sligo, and he'd gone up to Dublin, whatever, making a name for himself. And Conor feels really guilty for his lack of contact with him, which like I get that. Like I totally get that. It's upsetting to see his friends then meet up in the pub and they talk about his reflecting on like the behaviors that he had. So see, this episode was hard for me because a couple of years ago a friend of mine passed away, but I do like this episode at the same time because it like accurately kind of shows how people react to it. It was all, the episode was fine until I got to the funeral stage. I kind of had to like pause it and take a break and then come back to it because it was a bit too like nail on the head for me. But it is good to see that him and his friends, they came together and they were talking to each other about it. It's pretty clear in like the scenes before the funeral that Helen doesn't really know how to help him with his grief on the day of the funeral even. And it's clear Connell doesn't even want to go, but I mean, who wants to go to a funeral of their friend? He's so happy to see Marianne at the funeral, which again, like, I understand, like, because yeah, Grand Helen's good and all, but she doesn't understand what he's going through. And they share a really long hug. It's probably a bit too long, and kind of Helen interrupts it, which I thought was a bit funny. But the funeral scene is very emotional, especially for anyone who's had to go to a funeral of a friend, especially like a young person. I think it's very heartbreaking. Like, I've been to a few funerals in my life, not that many, but it's always when the person is younger. I find it's a lot more emotional, especially if it's not expected that they were gonna go. I was a bit annoyed and triggered with Helen going up to his, I think his name is, the character's name is Ron, his parents, and shaking their hands at the end of the service. I get it's to offer her condolences and stuff, but she didn't know him. She doesn't know anyone from the area. That just triggered me a little bit. Then they were their friends and stuff afterwards, and I think I can't even remember the friend's name. It makes a joke to Connell a bit like, oh, is as in the girlfriend Helen, is that why you're never home now? And Connell gets very triggered over this because he really blames himself, like, over not keeping in contact and kind of getting caught up in his own life up in Dublin rather than keeping in touch with his friends at home in Sligo. And so the day the funeral is over that night, they're in Connell's, they're in bed, and in fairness, Helen makes a valid point. She says that Connell wasn't really wanting to introduce her to his friends, which is true. He didn't really seem to want to, but also, like, it's not the best time to be bringing that up. Like, you'd want to get over yourself. I doubt it was the first thing on his brain. Like, it's probably the last thing on his mind. Marianne, it turns out now, is actually clearly a trigger for their relationship, whereas before we wouldn't have seen or heard of anything about it. But again, wrong time to argue about it. Like, really not the best time. It shows a lot of scenes of Connell, like, struggling. He's kind of just going through the motions, and his, like, anxiety and panic attacks that he had before, which he didn't really go into too much detail about, seem to have kind of come back. And it's pretty clear Miss Helen herself ain't no ride or die bitch. This woman, as soon as Connell was having issues, like, she's like, it's not fair on me to, like, I know you're going through your stuff, but I shouldn't have to be, like, holding on to these issues that I've had for a while because you're not in a good place, and, like, dumped his ass. But honey, good for you, because I really don't think you leaving him is going to affect him that much. Like, he'll be alright. Yeah, I liked Helen, but no, she just fucked it all up for herself. I like Marianne seems to be giving Connell a lot of support, and, like, you can tell, like, she truly understands his feelings. And so, look, it's pretty obvious they're going to connect again eventually. She came back for the funeral, but she's gone back to Sweden, and they're, like, Skyping all the time. So the Skyping's going on about being tired, and she's like, we'll just leave Skype on and you can go sleep. And then she's, like, staring at him weirdly when he's asleep. But they left Skype on all night, like, so, like, they both went to bed, woke up, like, he woke up the next morning, she was already awake. Cute little smile on his face though when he saw her. It was cute, but totally unnecessary. Like, why would you stay awake and keep your not stay awake, but, like, keep Skype on all night? Like, just turn it off and ring in the morning, I guess. We get a good insight, I think, here to Connell's, like, this one he's talking to the therapist, into Connell's mental state and how he's been, like, feeling about, like, his relationships with people throughout school and even through college, and his connection with Marianne, because we never really hear him talk about it with her. Kind of, you kind of just get the inkling that there's just something there. And there is a point where, like, this broke my heart watching this. Like, there's a point where, like, he breaks down, and, like, it's just such good acting. Like, it really just, like, it floored me, and I didn't expect it to, especially because I'm not, like, really that invested in it. But it was such good acting. Like, in these emotional scenes, I find he's very good. And, like, the emotion is just so raw and pure, and it's very well directed. I was very impressed with that scene. Like, I'm not invested in it, and it hit me good. So that's how you know it's doing well. Marianne and Colin are talking a lot, and she talks about how, like, she's asking, did he ever feel angry after your man's death? And he said not really, and she kind of explained her anger that she had, which I feel like it's a lot of, like, an anger that a lot of people had. So she was saying that she was, like, angry that people were, like, posting on Ron's wall, like, it's not for him, like, it's for them that they're posting, you know. And I feel like that's a very real emotion that people feel when, like, someone they know or someone they were close to or when they're friends does pass away. Like, you're like, what? Like, it's not for anybody, you know? But then people deal with things their own way, so I don't know. It's hard. But anyways, what I was saying is, I'm confused because they're Skyping a lot. They're saying I miss you. Like, are they romantic miss yous? Are they like friendly I miss yous? I really don't know. It's hard to gauge. Then we go on to episode 11, and it kind of shows off. Sorry, I just got a text from someone. About filters on TikTok, don't worry about it. Right, so episode 11 starts off. I think Connell's on antidepressants. They don't look like your Panadol or whatever, so and I think I just think it's so cute that he works in the library, like in Trinity, like just such a cute little cultured country man just working away in the library, and he just looks so content doing it. Like, it's such a bizarre thing, but this man loves books, I suppose. Marianne goes home to Sligo, and God, her brother is awful. Like, oh my God, like, she's just sitting out the back garden. It's her summer holidays, chilling out, having a good time, and he's in here moaning at her, calling her pathetic. Like, is this what you're gonna do now? Like, back off. Oh my God, I would have just decked him. Like, if my brother pushed him somewhere, like, I would have been so pissed off. Like, how is she pathetic for sitting outside just relaxing? Like, she's the one who went to Trinity, she's the one who went on Erasmus. Don't fucking see you doing shit, bro. And then we go to a scene where Colin and Marianne are on the beach, and like, before, she never really talked to him about her issues with her family, except for when they were in Italy, and you can tell like she's opened up much more towards him. So they're having a talk about her issues with her brother, and it's like, it's nice to see them kind of opening up and actually communicating. And then she randomly just like runs away laughing, and he runs after her laughing. I don't know. She made some comment about him coming home or whatever, but it was just random. Also, so I don't know. It's just a summer night and they're going out to the nightclub, but I always find that anytime they go out and they're like actually out in the nightclub, they always like it's always in Sligo. Like, it's never in Dublin, which I just find bizarre. Like, why? Director's choice or whatever, I don't really know, but writer's choice, I guess. Anyways, and I was dying laughing at Connell's dance, and it was just so like bizarre. I don't know, it wasn't bad, it was just weird. And these two, they want to ride, like, they want to ride till the cows come home. And I'm wondering what he said to her in the nightclub. Turns out he went to the smoking area. I found that out because the scene where, so the scene in the nightclub, they're like dancing or whatever, it looks like they're gonna kiss. He says something to her and walks off. Then the next scene, it's like she must have stayed in his house because it's the next day and he's talking about bringing her home, and they're in his room, he's watching a match or something. I'm just assuming she stayed there, because why would you stay there and then go over? I don't really know. Maybe she didn't. And she's asking him like, well, why did you run off? Did you go kiss that girl after? And he was like, no. But like, she's jealous, but she won't make a move. But there's loads of like close-ups of her like moving around the bed, and she's sitting a certain way, and she's doing this and she's doing that. Like, they just make me uncomfortable. Like her opening the window and stuff. Also really annoyed me that it's like an Irish summer and they're in his room and it's apparently boiling, like they're sweating. I'm like, that, like, no, that does not happen here. I'm sorry. Right, ice cream van around the corner. He's like, oh, do you want ice cream? Grand. He gets rockets. Why would you go to the ice cream man and get 2 rockets? Like, get a fucking 99 like a real man. I'm sorry. Sorry, that got to me a little bit. So there's a lot of talking about like things that happened between them and all this kind of stuff. Like, they're talking to each other, but like, they like, why don't, like, the two of them just don't say that they fancy each other. Like, they always go these roundabout ways. Like, they never really say it. And I think they're just right already. Marianne kind of does like say something about them not getting together. I can't remember what the exact words were. But then Connell says, like, look, he's afraid to get together because, like, at the past and, like, stuff that happened. Like, the only reason that shit happened in the past because you just couldn't communicate with each other. Like, you couldn't. And you kind of can communicate now, so I feel like it'll be fine. So I'm glad that she kind of, like, half made a move, like, feeling-wise. And then she clearly gets upset. She gets up to go, and he, like, holds her hand. And then starts kissing it, which I feel like was a weird thing. And she seems to be getting, like, really turned on by it. I felt uncomfortable watching it, but, you know, whatever. And he said no about them getting together, so why would he kiss her hand? I don't know, but there was a lot of tension. It was building up, they started kissing, and then, boom. We got some little bit of riding. It seemed like it wasn't going to happen because Connell didn't have a condom, but she was like, I'm on the pill, and then, of course, they did it. Well, they started riding. I was also like just thinking to myself, like, so she lies down on her stomach and he kind of comes in from behind her, and I'm just thinking like how traumatizing that would be for like an old person. Like, I can imagine my dad even watching, he'd be like, I feel uncomfortable, I'm gonna leave. Like, it seemed like it was a very intense moment, a very emotional moment, and they were both enjoying it. And then Marianne just has to go and make it bloody weird, doesn't she? I just found this so funny, like, oh, sorry. They're like having a great time, they're connecting, it's getting emotional. And he was saying that he likes how she says that, like, you can do anything, like, whatever you want. No, whatever you want. She's like, I like you saying whatever you can do whatever you want. She just turns around, she's like, hit me. Connell's like, what? And she's like, tell me I belong to you. Connell is like traumatized. This man is just like, no, I don't think I want that. Like, there's nothing wrong if you're into that. That's grand. Like, doesn't bother me. It's the fact that he's just like this country boy. He's just probably only ever done missionary, like, and just no, I don't really want to do that. Oh, I love it. And then she's like spaced out lying on the bed, so embarrassed, and he's like curled up in the corner, like on his hunkers with his pillow over his penis. Oh, it was the best thing ever. And he's like scrambling, just trying to like console her while he's like crouched in the corner of his bed with his pillow. Like, I know it shouldn't be a funny scene, but oh my god, I was laughing so much at it. I don't know why Marianne doesn't just own her kink. Like, I get, like, she can't really with Connell, because Connell's a bit more reserved. Like, I feel like he cares for her too much. He'd be afraid that he'd hurt her. But she gets so dramatic, she's like crying and legs at home, like racing each other to get dressed, like, just because he doesn't want to do her kinky bits. Just own your kinks, son. Own them. And usually after college, I feel like people know themselves more, and she just seems to know herself less. I don't know. I do feel bad for Connell. Like, he just doesn't want to hurt her. Like, he cares. Like, he doesn't want to bring that violence towards her. I just couldn't stop laughing. Like, it just shows her crying, and then it cuts to him crying. And I was just like, lol. And like, lads, why are you crying? Then she gets home. Her fucking brother, like, why can't he just like fuck off? Like, honestly. So her brother comes in, he's like, where the fuck were you? And she's like, I was in Connell's. And he's like, doesn't want her getting with that knacker Connell. And like, he's not a knacker though, like, and even if he was, none of your business. He just seems way too invested in her love life for someone who thinks she's pathetic and doing nothing with her life. And then the whole smashing his beer at her, and she's like, no, fuck this, runs away. He's like, get the fuck back here. And she tries to close the door, he pushes the door open, breaks her nose. And like the mom is there, like she's just still sitting in that front room, just like listening to all this happening, like in a fucking daze. Which made me uncomfortable. Like, I don't really know. Her mom seems to be very harsh. I don't know what the right way to describe her is. She's bizarre. Um, I didn't think Marianne would call Connell. I was hoping she would, but I didn't think she would after like her embarrassment. I was afraid that because of her embarrassment before, she wasn't gonna ring him, but she did. And then I was also like, I couldn't believe she lied. She said she fell. Like, she didn't say what happened with her brother. Like, it easily could have come across as an accident, but like, there was so much violence coming from her brother. Like, who actually would have knows what would have happened if the door thing didn't happen. And I just love like Connell just was like got the call, knew something was wrong, got in the car, went to the rescue, and he opened the door. He's like, "Fuck! Like, why do you have so much blood on you?" And she's like, "Oh, I just fell." And the brother's like standing like fucking the Shining twins down the hallway staring, and he's like, "Did he do that to you?" And she doesn't say anything. He's like, "Get in the car now." Like, I'm just so happy. Like, he knew the fucking sus. Like, he just knew what was going on, and he fucking pins that brother up against the wall. He's like, you touch our man, you are a dead man. Like, tells him where to fucking go, and he's dead right. Like, dead fucking right. A lot of people be like, yeah, well, it's her family, you shouldn't be getting involved. No, like, he can fucking get involved and tell that brother, like, brother deserves it. I'm sorry. I would have hit the fucking brother with my car if I was Connell, but, you know, whatever. And then the mom is just sitting there, like, listening and letting all this happen as she sits in, like, is she doped out of her head or something? Like, I actually don't know what's going on. Is she high as a kite sitting in that front room, like, I'm too stoned to go near this, or I'm too out of my bin, or I'm tripping balls, I can't go, like, that's the only real reason I can excuse her if she was, like, inebriated and didn't know what was going on. But I don't think homeboy would have liked his mama doing that, so I don't know. And I love in the car where he's like, look, just look at me, tells her he loves her, and he'll make sure like that she's safe. But also homeboy Connell, I mean, not thinking if she has health insurance though. Like, what if she doesn't? What if this is going to cost a lot of money? Maybe she'll get a new nose out of it. Not that she needs a new nose, but I mean, why not? Might as well. So we're going on to episode 12. And I feel like there's probably a bit of like a gap. I feel like there could have been like an 11 and a half where we kind of look at him like building Marianne back up, kind of getting things back on track. Like, it's kind of like maybe even a quarter. I don't even know. Like, we kind of see a glimpse of it in episode 12. I like the shorter opening clip. It seems like they're finally, like, they're on the right page. There's no drama and they're together. Like, everything seems good. It's Marianne's birthday and they have a little party thing. It just seems lovely. Like, it just seems like things have come together for her. She has her nice friend group around, and like, she just seems like much better, healthier, like mentally in a happier place. And it's good to see her and Connell together, and they're like supporting each other. And honestly, her family are cunts. Like, it's her birthday and her mom doesn't text saying happy birthday. She texts being like, you better send me them keys for the Dublin flat. Like, so him and Marianne are like living together. I don't know what they're, or she, I can't really remember if I don't really know if she's living with him or living with her old roommate that she had. It's a bit all over the gap. I'm not quite sure. But regardless, she stays with him most nights, it seems. And it's a pity. Like, she didn't get a new nose out of the accident. Like, I mean, I definitely, if it was me, I would have made some improvements with that doctor. Like, why not? Why bloody not? There's a little sex scene, okay? Again, another one. And I was just thinking, like, so it starts off where, like, he's on top, whatever, they use. And then they do, like, a flipsy and he's on top. And I was just imagining, like, especially for like old married, not like old, but like older married Catholic Irish mammies or women being like traumatized at this. I just feel like they only ever would know of missionary and that's all they do, and they just do it to make their kids and that's it. But then again, it might open up some bad bitches up in this place. Oh, and then another flaccid penis shot, as per usual, which is good. I feel like there needs to be more flaccid penises. There's a lot more boobs on TV than penises, so not that they're nice to look at, but just for equality and all that. I don't know if her violent kink is gone or if she's just like accepted that it's not going to happen with Connell. But then again, it could be the fact that her brother fucking broke her nose and that kind of ruined it on her, which would be sad, but you know, it would be very sad. I don't know. Her life, it just seems more like simplified. She just seems happier. Like this last episode kind of like predominantly focuses on like Marianne's progress, a little bit on Connell's, but I think it was needed at Marianne. Like she just seemed all over the place for so long. This amazing opportunity comes up for Connell in America, and it's a bit sad that he didn't tell her first, but like I understand, like he was worried he wasn't even going to get it, he didn't want to make a big deal about it. And she does seem a bit caught off guard by it, which it would be. But I do think him going abroad and like maybe her going with him would cause some issues, but she gives him some good advice to like just put it on the back burner. But I personally think he should go. I know these aren't real people, by the way. I'm happy to see like Connell, he's found a bit more of himself, he's found a place for himself, he's like becoming an editor, he's got his good friends, like he just seems to be coming out of his shell a bit more, he seems to know his way around Dublin that bit more, like he just seems a bit more comfortable. And as annoyed as I was like throughout this whole thing, I'm actually really happy how things have ended up bringing them together. I wish it wasn't as long-winded as it was, but I'm happy that they're together, and you know, they seem to complement each other well, they're in a good place. You know, his mom seems to like her, bring her home for Christmas, like it's good. And like they accept her, and she's just so like, it's a world, like a family oriented thing that she's never been in before, and it just really opens her eyes. They run in with her mom, very tense and awkward. And like her mom is just, I can't make head nor tail of her. Like I can't. I actually don't know what she is like. And I did like that Connell brought Marianne out with him for New Year's with the old school friends, so like she had them people to connect with and talk with rather than just being with him and the Dublin friends, you know. Like I don't really understand a lot of the issues that they had throughout the whole thing in certain aspects, but like I do like the conclusion of everything, that they kind of sorted things out, they kind of come full circle, you know, that kind of way. And this is probably a bit of a controversial one where they're talking about him going to New York. I love her decision not to go. Like it's a hard thing for them to decide after all they've been through. But like she knows he needs to do this without her. Like if he goes and they try to do long distance, it will cause problems, they'll miss each other, it just won't get better. I think she knows if she goes with him, he won't branch out, he'll kind of attach onto her, won't kind of make his own connections, stuff like that. And a key thing there, I think, is like he says like, I promise I'll come back in a year, and she's like, don't make that promise because you don't know what's going to happen in a year, you don't know where we're going to be in a year. And it's just such a big change to like see how the both of them have matured. Like he's like, okay, I'll go. Whereas before, when it was just him going to fucking Sligo, they couldn't even communicate between them if they were going to stay together and he was going to stay with her, or if they were going to see other people. Like, you know, it's a big a big change and a big gap, and I did like that. My favourite episode is actually probably that last one. Why do I sound like I'm going to start crying? Oh my god, that's so weird. I like that last episode. It was just nice. It was a nice way to round it off. It's kind of shitty after all the fucking effort the two of them went through that they're just going to end up going their separate ways anyways, but they'll always be part of each other's lives, as they say. I feel like the story was too long, but look, I'm just an impatient person. I do like the development of the characters, so you do need the length to develop them, I guess. I don't think Marianne should have as many fucking fellas as she did, but you know, whatever. And I think she should own her kink. But overall, it was okay. Like, I wouldn't say that it was as amazing as everyone was making it out to be. I do think it was a great, like, historically, it was great to have these things on an Irish television, because Irish television is very conservative, I would say. I think most television is pretty conservative, now that I think about it, but, you know, whatever. It's good. It's a good, like, usually I don't like, I don't even know if I want to say it's Irish, because I guess it's technically produced by BBC, but, like, it's based in Ireland, so I do like that. I think it went down well. Not as, like, the hype that it was given made it seem like it was the best thing ever. I wouldn't say it's the best thing ever, but it's very good. Very well executed, great actors, great directing. The story's just too long for me, but look, what does my opinion matter? Yes, so I don't actually know what I'm going to do my next podcast on. I have a lot of things that I want to talk about. But I want to try stay away from, like, coronavirus based stuff, because I'm just sick of hearing about it. But then again, it comes up every 2 bloody days in the news, so we'll see. We will see. So thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time.